Welcome everyone to Making a Better Earth with me and Peter. Today we're going to make a better Earth.
Let's go!
And so to start off with, we're going to get some cake mix, some eggs, some oil, and to start off with, we're also going to turn on the oven for 350 degrees. And lastly, we're going to get some water. And then you're going to mix that all up. And after mixing it for a while, you're going to start blending it for around 2 minutes. Now after mixing for 2 minutes, you should have this cake batter, and now you are able to pour the layers of the cake to make a better Earth. Then going to put these layers in the oven and let them sit for 30 minutes. While the cake is cooking, now me and Peter are going to give you some facts about the environment and the Earth itself. Ralph Nader. While being a lawyer, he investigated the flaws of car designs. The investigation was because of increased car accidents and deaths in the world.
The National Traffic and Motor Vehicle Safety Act, whose intentions were to improve safety on the road, was passed by Congress after Ralph Nader released his book Unsafe at Any Speed, revealing the flawed design of the car at that time to the public, which caused a stir. This led to new standards being set for car and traffic safety, leading to better driving conditions.
After the Korean War and the Vietnam War, veterans returned. JFK had established a panel on mental retardation in 1961. This would eventually lead to the Special Olympics in 1970, started by Eunice Shriver, who was also a Kennedy. She also established and guaranteed equal access to education for disabled people.
Silent Spring was a book released by author Rachel Carson in 1962, where it described the deadly impact of pesticides on birds and animals while also describing the dangers of toxic waste. She claimed that it was humanity's responsibility to protect the damaged environment in the book as well. This led to Congress restricting the use of pesticides and also caused widespread environmental activism in the U.S.
President Nixon at this time had become an environmentalist, exclaiming the U.S. must pay its debts to the past, which he means with the cleaning of our air, our water, and the environment itself.
President Gerald Ford established the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in 1974 by the Energy Reorganization Act. This ensured that nuclear materials would be handled safely without having a harmful impact on people and the environment.
What once started as a nationwide protest, Senator Gaylord Nelson forces the environmental issue onto the national agenda. The first Earth Day was April 22, 1970, where 20 million Americans attended, as well as civil and women's groups and grassroots groups such as Sierra Club and the Wilderness Society.
The Environmental Protection Agency, otherwise known as the EPA, was established in December 1970 by an executive order of President Richard Nixon. The group was an agency of the United States federal government whose mission was to protect human and environmental health. One instance of the EPA in action was during the Love Canal incident, where they investigated the chemicals and toxins causing all the birth defects and cancer occurring in the area, while also helping bring light to the situation.
The law known as the Clean Air Act in 1970 was designed to combat air pollution, as well as limit emissions from factories and automobiles.
The Clean Water Act, originally known as the Federal Water Pollution Control Act, was a U.S. federal law that regulated the discharge of pollutants into the nation's surface waters, including lakes, rivers, streams, wetlands, and coastal areas. This act led to the limiting of pollution in water by industries and agriculture.
The act known as the Endangered Species Act in 1973 was to establish the protection of endangered animals and plants.
3 Mile Island was a nuclear generating station in Dauphin County, Pennsylvania, where on March 29, 1979, the core of the nuclear reactor had a malfunction, leading it to it partially melting. There was a threat of it releasing radioactive gas, which caused the governor to declare a state of emergency. Plant managers, however, managed to contain the accident, and President Jimmy Carter later arrived with his wife in order to reassure the public. This event, however, causing no significant damage to anyone, was still the most serious accident in U.S. commercial nuclear power plant operating history, and led to emergency response planning, reactor operator training, human factors engineering, radiation protection, and many other areas of nuclear power plant operations. It also caused the NRC to heighten its regulatory oversight.
In 1978, in Niagara Falls, in upstate New York, land was sold to people that wasn't the cleanest, as there was an exceptionally large rate of birth defects and cancer in the area of Love Canal. This was because, for decades, toxic chemicals had been dumped in the area, and it seeped and spread throughout the Love Canal. The resident sign, "Give me liberty, I've already got death," had come from.
The congressionally funded Superfund was established in 1980, which created a tax on the chemical and petroleum industries and provided broad federal authority to respond directly to releases or threatened releases that may endanger public health or the environment. Over 5 years, $1.6 billion were collected and the tax went to a trust fund to provide economic or environmental benefits to communities.
Now that those facts are over, our cake is now done. Just look at the amazing Earth that we made. I hope you all enjoyed, and thank you for watching.